Ethereum and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner of Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with Future Tech Podcast. I have Chad Kettering and Armando Pantoja, both co-founders of HireMatch, HireMatch. Website is hirematch.io. Armando is also a lead developer at HireMatch. How you guys doing?
Oh, fine.
Excellent.
So tell me about HireMatch. What's the premise of it, and what do you guys do there?
Well, HireMatch was developed to become a platform for the employee recruitment market. So our intent is to decentralize the current market by using blockchain technology and specifically smart contracts to do so. So it's a employee recruitment market is a $450 billion global industry, and it's a bit outdated and kind of a legacy business that's ripe for disruption. So that's why we created the HireMatch platform.
Well, tell me, how does it happen right now, employee recruitment? What does it look like? And then what's your version of it look like? How's it look like?
Right now, it's pretty inefficient. So the way it happens now is that a company will call a recruiter. The recruiter will access their network of possible candidates and reach out to each one and see if they want to send in their resume. And then this process is inefficient because each recruiter is only limited to their network, right? So you only got maybe a few hundred people that you can reach out to. Well, HireMatch is going to change that by increasing the network. We're going to so the company will come to our site, post a job, and then that job will go out to thousands of our agents. Agents are people who search for jobs either through a mobile app or they do it through our open API by writing smart applications, to access and submit candidates. So what this is going to do is going to increase the network and the possible candidates, which in turn is going to increase it's going to increase the quality and the speed of getting the candidate into that job.
Yeah, I think ultimately you'll get the better recruiters. You'll see them getting rewarded more handsomely, and the ones that are currently in the system or in the environment right now and not doing that great of a job will not do well because their candidates will not be being placed, and so we'll see the kind of a natural progression of the better recruiters rising to the top. And the problem is now there's just too much noise in the industry. Like if I put out a job posting right now, like on Indeed.com or one of the more traditional boards, I could get flooded with applicants, and the chances that I make the right choice are pretty slim out of that that wide net of candidates that are going to come my way. So what this will do is it'll allow the employer to get 3 or 4 fully vetted candidates that they can trust have been verified as far as their education, their employment history, all the credentials that are critical to an employer.
How are you going to verify people's credentials? Is the system itself going to do that somehow, or is it going to be the recruiters themselves that are supposed to have done it and then present the candidate?
That's part of our system, right? So there's 3 things that these agents can do. They can find, they can verify, or submit candidates. So those are 3 things. That's one of the 3 things that we will pay people to do for us. So a developer could write a system that does background checks on every candidate that comes through, and you can earn tokens like that. Or you can verify somebody's background or whatever. So that's part of the system.
And the interesting thing is with the emergence of blockchain technology now, there's we've run into a few companies that are actually specializing in the verification process. So we'll be able to actually plug in, if need be, we could plug in their some of the work that they've done, into our platform to additionally verify credentials of those that are using the system.
So would you even need recruiters to verify people, or people can verify themselves individually and get onto the platform?
That's part of the bounty program, right? So we send out tokens to people who verify candidates. So that's part of the platform.
Okay, so you have these like aggregators of candidates. I guess you call them recruiters.
Right.
But what if I'm just an individual and I'm a programmer and I heard about your platform? I say, I want to be a part of it. Do I have to go through a recruiter to get onto it, or can I just join the platform and I get to vet myself somehow?
Okay, so I'm a little confused. So if you're a programmer, you want to submit yourself as a candidate, or you want to be part of you want to earn tokens?
No, I just want to find a job. I'm just looking for a job, so I want to be a candidate. Yeah.
Okay, so there's no direct way you can submit yourself to the platform. You'd have to go through an agent. So we would our platform only accepts submissions, and we rely on our agents to find and verify and submit those candidates.
So you would upload if you're that engineer, you would upload your portfolio or your resume if you are or were, and at that point, then recruiters that are doing a good job could match up the criteria of what the employers are looking for, your history and whatnot, and then you could be recommended for those positions. So that's part of the vetting process.
Would this also help me, like right now, if I want to get a job, I got to go find recruiters, for instance, and submit myself to them. Through your platform, would I be able to submit myself to a lot more recruiters at once? Would it help me as an individual?
Well, you submit it, and a lot more recruiters would have access to, to push. If I find out Armando is, a great programmer, and Google has an opening that, aligns well with what his skill set is, then I would recommend him, and other people that have, we could really dive into his personal network. So other people that have worked with Armando, or people that know Armando and his skill set, could recommend him for the position. So he would, begin to, filter his way up to one of the top candidates that would be eventually submitted for that job. And the other thing is, with this, you get more of the decentralized nature of it is one of the beauties, because right now, if you go to a typical recruiter, if I hire a typical recruiting agency, they're typically just going to put forward their best, who's ever under their umbrella, so you're not necessarily getting the best candidate out there. You're getting the best candidate with that recruitment agency.
Well, you're fishing in smaller ponds. I guess this would link together all these small ponds, and you get a much bigger group of people from which you could choose.
Yeah, you're basically crowdsourcing the recruitment process, versus just depending on one person to do it for you.
If you guys want to go totally decentralized, why only allow recruiters to come onto the platform? Why not allow individuals themselves? What would be the downside of that?
Anybody can come onto the platform. If you're a developer, and let's say, for example, you're a developer and you're only good at advertising, right? You can create a website on top of our platform that only submits candidates to jobs, So that's we're actually taking the power away from recruiters and giving it to everybody. So anybody can use our open API, and anybody can use our mobile app to submit, or to find, verify, and submit candidates. So it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a recruiter to do this.
What about if you're not tech savvy and you want to be a part of the platform? Let's say I'm a recruiter with a small firm. I just don't have the budget to have a developer go make, an application for your platform. Do you have any off-the-shelf ones that I could use?
Yeah, so that's where the mobile app comes in, right? So you download the mobile app, and you can submit candidates via that mobile app.
Yeah, it really opens or lowers the barrier of entry for those that want to get in the industry that could really do a good job, but maybe are being, they're not with a big agency or not a big recruiting firm, or there's no openings at those firms. So it really opens up the market to people that really want to get into the industry. Those that are in the industry and doing a great job will excel. So, and that's the problem right now. Again, you hear from, we've done a lot of interviews with people in the industry, and there's some people in the industry such as Randstad that are on our team. And the biggest complaint generally is just the amount of noise when they're looking for a position. Too many candidates, they're not quality candidates. They're not sticking around for a long period of time. So it's just a lot of, inefficiencies, and it's the overall consensus is that it's time for a change, and the platform we're creating with HireMatch can do this.
Well, if you aggregate lots of recruiters, that could mean tons more candidates. What's to say that the noise won't increase? What kind of filters or ways do you guys have so that, you're getting a bigger pool, but you're vetting them harder so that you don't get just thousands of hordes of people that are not qualified?
Right. Well, there's, like I said, there's a vetting process. So only those that, if Armando is recommended by 50 different people, and those recruiters have a good status with our platform, then he's more likely to get in front of the employer than somebody that has 2 recommendations and maybe the qualifications don't match up as well. So the vetting process will only allow at the end ultimately 3 to 5 candidates to get to the employer.
Is that based on the strength of the candidates, or is that now based on the my putting my fate in the hands of my recruiter? And if they're not good or they're not, renowned, then I may not get access to jobs that I otherwise should get access to.
No, ultimately it'll be in the hands of the talents of the worker themselves. So you're not relying on just one recruiter. So ultimately your skill set will push you to the top versus who you know. So that's how we're actually improving on that. Right now it's who you know or what firm you're with.
I'll give you a good example. I'll talk about it from the technology side, right? So one candidate comes into the system for one job, right? So that candidate is going to be verified. That's what the verification part is. That candidate can be verified and vetted by thousands of API writers. So each API writer or each person that's a developer that's writing a smart application is going to assign a rank to that person. So that rank is going to be aggregated into a high, something we call higher rank, right? So that person gets a rank on what their potential is for a particular job. So that's how we kind of know, if a person fits a job or does not fit a job. So it kind of reduces the noise because you can sort by rank now.
I would think that I would think that people end up coming through a few different APIs at most. Once you, I don't know if you're developing them or if you're relying on third parties to develop them, but once someone makes like a robust, okay, sign up here as a recruiter and here's everything you need to get running without them having to, to program any of that people will just use it. So I think there'll be a few favorite, I don't even know what you call them, but just, platforms on your platform for people to recruit, like an off-the-shelf type thing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Eventually, some of those API writers are going to rise to the top. It's just the competition.
Right.
But still, in another answer to one of your questions, we are going to write the initial APIs. So we're going to write the initial set of different APIs and let evolution take place. Whatever the best ones are, are going to rise to the top. So after that, you're going to, we already have a few people already in line to, start writing these APIs. So I do believe that eventually you're right, that a few will eventually take the top spots, but they'll take the top spots because they're the best, and they're going to be given the correct numbers to each candidate, and it's still, in the end, it's still going to work out okay.
It's better if it happens like that. If you have too many, there'll be confusion,
We've had a lot of people that are in the industry with recruitment agencies, job boards, or whatever, actually contacting us. They've found out about HireMatch, and they're asking how the API works, how they'd be able to tie in. So we're actually not even a direct competition to them. It's actually an additional tool, So it's being well received, across the board.
So what stage are you at? Is your platform live? Do you have any instances running where recruiters can sign up yet?
Not yet. We'll have that before the end of the year. We have an alpha version out now. You can take a look at that on GitHub.
Yeah, we just actually started the crowdfunding sale on October 1st, and that's running through the month of October. So we developed that's most of the funds raised through the crowdfund will be used to enhance and, develop the platform itself. That's the purpose of the sale.
Okay. So you're doing, you're doing a crowd sale right now?
Yep, we have a token sale. It's live right now at HireMatch.io. We've got probably 300 to 400 participants in it already at this point, and that's just in the first 6 or 7 days. So it's moving along pretty rapidly. There's the interesting thing is there's a global demand for something like this. So a lot of our interest has come from Japan and Brazil and Europe, and so it's not just confined to the United States by any means.
What let's get into some more of the mechanics. So end of the year, in the next few months, do you have an alpha that the recruiters can start testing and putting jobs on?
Yeah, we should have a beta version by the end of the year. So it should be so people will be able to submit jobs before, maybe end of this year or early next year. We plan to have it released.
And most large firms have, such as Randstad and traditional firms have divisions that are deal with innovation and forward-thinking platforms. So getting into some of these agencies will not be difficult. They're looking for platforms to test and try out internally. So we visited with a number of them already that will be able to onboard and test and give us feedback before we roll it out to the nationwide.
So what's your business model? How do you guys make money? Do you charge a fee for each match or for the recruiters themselves?
So when the employer puts out a looking for a position, they put out what we call a bounty. So let's say you put out a bounty for 10,000 hire tokens. Let's say that's $10,000, if you will. So that bounty goes out and it's set up through a smart contract. So everyone involved in the process, it incentivizes them to take part. So those that are taking part in the process will get some tokens back, and then upon a successful hire, that's how we'll make our money. We'll get a percentage, and the employer themselves actually gets a small chunk back as well. So everyone in the network is incentivized to by the bounty that's placed.
So your token is the currency of the realm there. So recruiters, they earn tokens, and they're going to be able to convert them to fiat somehow.
Yeah, we'll be available on the exchanges, and they can convert them to Bitcoin or Ethereum.
So just like any other cryptocurrency now, that'll be on the exchange, so you can people do all different things with them. But yeah, you could trade it or exchange it for Ethereum or Bitcoin, and use that for whatever purposes you use it for. But versus, let's say you put an engineer out who's got you could see a recruitment fee and first year fees of up to $35,000 depending on their salary. You can do that for a fraction of a cost using our platform and end up with a better candidate. Yeah, I mean, any industry where there's huge margins like that and just inefficiencies and just overall, everyone knows there's something new coming because it's outdated the way it's currently being run. That's the really exciting part for us.
So what are some of the big partnerships that you guys looking to do? Like, will you be able to partner with Indeed or Monster or places like that, the big job boards, or you just kind of got to go your own way and you think that you'll just be approached by people and you won't have to deal with those guys?
Oh, yeah, we would like to integrate into those systems some type of way. I mean, we do have an advisor that is part of the innovation team over at Randstad, and Randstad owns Monster.com. So we're after we get the crowdfunding over and we develop the beta version, we're going to present it to them, and hopefully we can work together to integrate into what they already have. We don't want to directly compete. We want to be a part.
Yeah, this isn't a job board. It's employee recruitment platform. So they'll be able to tie into it and benefit from it as well. So.
Gotcha. And what about the recruiters themselves? What have you guys seen? What makes a good recruiter versus a bad one, or a particularly effective one?
Yeah, well, basically, a good recruiter is placing quality candidates that are a right fit for the culture, and not just their education matching up, but just good fits that are sticking around for 6 months, 12 months down the year. So I guess typical complaints you hear now are recruiters just pushing people through. It's not working out, then they have the traditional model has a guarantee in place. So if that guy doesn't work out, we'll replace them, a number of times. So you're turning over, you're just pushing employees through, hoping through one of them sticks. So, and there's bounty jobs. I think is one that's out there that's doing something similar to what we're doing, but they're kind of notorious for maybe. But anyway, it's a large industry, which is again not being the quality is not there really. So I think the way we have this set up, it'll really filter out. So employers can trust that they're working with top recruiters that are bringing them top talent.
Yeah, I think a good recruiter is somebody that has the intelligence of the job that they're looking for, right? So in my experience, like if somebody was a software engineer in their past life and now they're a recruiter, they place the best candidates for that job. That's what I've always felt is what makes a good recruiter.
What industries are you guys going to focus on in terms of recruiters, or is it just whoever comes?
Specifically, probably the easiest entry is the industries with highest margins. So your tech, the people that are making 70, 80 grand or more a year, definitely. So medical, tech, engineers.
We kind of want to stick around that realm at first because that's what we know. So IT, technology, we want to stick to those type of jobs because of the high acquisition fees, and also it's something that we already know. So that's gonna be our starting point. But we're gonna expand into different markets, into different industries.
And specifically in those industries, there's a lot of amazing talent around the world that's not really being matched up well with the positions available.
So is there a fee for recruiters to participate, or how does it work? I'm a recruiter. I want to be a part of the platform. What do I do?
Just sign up initially you just sign up as a recruiter. There's a vetting process that will last, a short period of time, just so we're eliminating bots and just, people that are out to do malicious things. So once you've proven to be a legitimate recruiter, then you're open to start, viewing positions that are available and begin matching them up or submitting your candidates. But there's no fees or anything at that time.
And then again, with successful matches, as a recruiter, I'll earn my normal fee, but I can also earn your token fee, or am I restricted to just earning the tokens on your platform?
The economy of the platform is only our token based. So, there's no outside fiat currency or anything else. So you can only pay with our token, and you can only get paid with our token.
But the additional benefit there to offset that is maybe you place, 3-4 candidates a month traditionally, or if that. With this, you could place 5 times that with ultimately less effort and more, because you're dealing with more employers versus just your traditional means. So the volume should be outpace that and make it worthwhile.
Okay. Quick question. So as a recruiter, I only get paid if my people get jobs, right? The people I bring in.
Not necessarily. That's the magic of the bounty system, right? So if you submit a candidate that passes verification and he's not hired, but he was part of the process, you would get a small percentage of the token. If you submit somebody and they're interviewed, you get a higher percentage of the token. You get the most if your candidate's hired, but if you had a candidate that was any way involved in that process, you earn tokens. And this is to incentivize people to submit people. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people don't want to, recruiters don't want to submit anybody because they're like, well, he's not going to get hired. But you don't know, just to be safe, you can submit people and still earn tokens.
And the counterbalance to that is, you don't want people to just submit garbage.
That goes back to that vetting process where you'd just be probation period will be put on the account, or just in traditional means, there's a lot of ways to vet things like that. So even the community themselves, those that are being recruited could report, poor recruiters, and that'll be just traditional means that are being used now on platforms. It makes it a lot easier in today's world to vet out, bad apples.
And over time, you say if somebody submits a bunch of bad candidates, the percentage of the tokens they get out of every bounty would go down, progressively. So if you submitted a bunch of bad candidates and you continue to do that, your earning potential will eventually go down to zero. And it's the inverse if your candidates are good candidates. Your earning potential goes up every time your candidates pass verification. The more and more candidates pass verification that you submit it, the higher your potential to earn goes.
Oh, so the better I do, the more of my candidates get jobs, the more money I make, and the less.
They incentivize good recruiters and good application developers. They incentivize them to continue and to make good, efficient systems and to submit quality candidates.
And the other thing is you have to get the thing that prevents, let's say I wanted to be a recruiter and just submit 10,000 people. The thing that would prevent that as well is you'd have to get permission it'd be permission based. So that person is going to be the potential employee of the talent itself would have to say, yes, that's okay for you to submit to recommend me for this position. So there's a checks and balances there.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's a process there.
Okay. Makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what are some of your goals within 6 months? The number of units, number of matches, what metrics is going to tell you that this was successful?
That's going to come once the system gets launched. We don't know right now because we have to get some data. Once we get that initial data, we can start judging. We have to submit. We have to get surveys from the end users. We have to get data from the users, from the agents themselves, and from the system. And once we get that, we can start making the metrics as what makes a good recruiter versus a bad one. So then we'll start, placing that in the system and rewarding those that we consider good and punishing those we consider bad.
And then also it'll take at least 6 months to a year to start to develop, relationships and find out those, if they're sticking around after 6 months, are they still happy with the employee? And that's kind of how we can gauge how successful it's been as well. That's I guess one of the main things I look at. Right now, if you look at if a large company hires 10 engineers, there may be 30% satisfactory rate. So we're hoping to beat I think that's our strength right there, is to prove that it's more like a 60 or 70% satisfactory rate versus your current 30%, and so you're acquiring better talent that's sticking around for a lower rate. That's the upside for employers.
Okay. Well, very good. So how can people that are interested in getting onto the platform as recruiters, how do they find you, and where do they go? Who do they talk to?
Well, right now, like I said, our focus right now is the crowd sale itself. So we're developing the platform. So once the crowd sale is over, we'll be start deploying the funds to develop that platform where employers and recruiters and everyone can start to register and start to use the platform. So right now, like I said, like Armando said, we'll be releasing a version here Q4, but right now the main focus is just on the crowd sale itself.
All right. Any quick details on the crowd sale? So they go to HireMatch.io. How much of the tokens right now? Is it you submit Ethereum? How does the crowd sale work?
The crowd sale works right now. We provide 2,100 hire tokens for every 1 Ether that you submit. So that's only for our pre-sale. Once the pre-sale goes away, we're going to go down to 900 hire tokens for 1 Ethereum. So and that closes in the next. So once we sell 20,000, then that happens. That the price is increased, and you get less hard tokens per Ethereum.
Yep, and the sale will be open to the public through to the month of October. So October 31st is the end of the sale.
And which exchanges are you aiming for, and when?
We have a few that we're working on right now, and so a couple are based in Japan.
It's hard to finalize anything until the crowd sale's over in that regards, but the team that we've worked with has worked with 3 or 4 successful ICOs, so they have the relationships in place and the contacts, and we've already submitted the application, so it's just a matter of which ones we'll be able to work with. But to touch on Armando's point, Japan is a really exciting market. There's been a lot of interest in from that market in our platform, so that's something we really want to focus on. So we hope to be making some announcements about that exchange, shortly after the first part of November, and being on, as many exchanges as we need to be within the first 30 days after the conclusion of the sale.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's the beauty of the token sales versus traditional crowdfunding. Of course, you have actual liquidity and exciting projects versus just.
All right. Well, very good. So HireMatch.io, and thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
The Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference is coming to Dallas, Texas, February 16, 17, and 18 in 2018. If you know of a better way to get the latest insider knowledge about crypto, to hear directly from the top minds in this field, to interact personally with 800 fellow crypto lovers, hodlers, investors, miners, traders, developers, and founders, then I'd like to hear about it. If you don't, then you don't want to miss out. Register today for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Blockchain Super Conference. Go to bitcoinsuperconference.com and register today as a super early bird to get the lowest rates on tickets and hotel rooms. That's bitcoinsuperconference.com.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.